Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Tom Stewart here with Liz Trotter, and this is Smart Business Moves.
Hey, y'all.
Monday, April 19th.
Oh,
Wow.
so late, Tom. How is it April 19th? Freaking me out.
My oldest daughter has a birthday tomorrow.
Oh, she does? Oh, on the 20th. That's, isn't that the pot day?
That's the pot day, yeah.
Gavin's ex-girlfriend, I guess. Her birthday is tomorrow too. Like, how can it be his ex? I still love her so much.
It's also Hitler's birthday.
Oh, goodness.
Her siblings remind her of that every year.
I bet, especially the way your kids really love to like tease each other. I could totally see how they give her grief about it.
Yeah.
Hey, Linda. I just got hit up by Arksy about something on here. Oh, it's this Facebook Live. Arksy just sent me a little reminder.
Well, there you go. I'm glad they did. We may have forgotten you.
Thanks, Arksy. I appreciate that. Hey, Linda, how you doing? Tom, what is going on in the world? We have any news updates or anything?
Well, you know, we've been studying the labor market a lot, and just some general numbers. We're going to be talking. I mean, we're going to be talking about, I guess, workforce development and labor, and how this is kind of the magic recipe here all this week. We're going to be talking about it today. We're going to be talking about it again Wednesday. But Jerome Powell, he's the chairman of the Federal Reserve, and I saw an interview from him the other day, and he was sharing one of the bigger concerns that they have is the unemployment rate amongst the bottom quartile of the workforce is at 20%. So they talk about the unemployment rate, and the overall employment rate is relatively low, 6 point whatever percent, but there's a whole lot of people in the bottom quartile. Now, I also was reading a piece by one of the principals at Glassdoor. You're familiar with them? They're the ones that have the website that people review their employers, and they were just talking about all the incentives that have been created to basically, for that bottom quartile, for them not to work. And says that that's probably going to be the case until at least Labor Day, because that's when the federal stipend or additional federal funds on unemployment is going to go away. And that's assuming they don't change anything between now and then, so they could extend it further. But basically, the gist of it is that we want to raise minimum wage. There's more than one way to do it, and one way is just create a financial incentive for people not to work, and then force employers to keep up in the ante and bidding on that until people decide it financially makes sense for me to go back to work.
Wow, they actually said that, huh? Wow. Hey, Robin. Hey, Leslie. Wow.
Jay Powell didn't say that because he's with the government, but the Glassdoor people, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but that was just kind of the gist of it. So they are seeing wages going up, and it looks like at where that stops and if it sticks or not. They're saying certainly that things will get better once the federal funds go away on the unemployment. But so a lot of people are speculating that they're going to be looking for legislation to push it out past September too.
Yeah, that's what I had heard. I was talking to somebody last week, and they were saying how they just want to make it to the end of July because they read something that it's going to end in July. I'm like, yeah, you need to stop hanging your hat on that, because I would be surprised if it's chilling until Labor Day. Yeah, I'd be surprised if it goes away that quickly. So I I kind of see what Glassdoor is saying though, Tom. That really does kind of make sense to me, especially in the context of what we've been talking about for a while, right? That, money is not a huge motivator, but when you're talking about the triangle, which I never remember what it's called.
Maslow.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? So the bottom level is security, that people have to feel secure. And so the money pops into that level. If they're not getting paid enough where they feel like they can survive and live, then it's not an okay wage, regardless of what the government says, what anybody says minimum wage is. Yeah, right, Tom?
Yeah, the money is part of the equation. It's necessary, but it's not sufficient. There's a lot of other things that need to go into building an awesome workforce. And really, I think the thing that we need to be thinking about is being a good employer is not good enough anymore. You got to be excellent. You got to be awesome, because the flip side of it is the awesome ones are the ones that are going to be around to play the game. I think there's a lot of people that are, the companies that aren't that strong or that aren't that well managed. That they're going to have a hard time navigating these waters for the next 6 months plus. Yeah,
I can really see that so many people are struggling right now, just with what's going on right now. So I can't even. I don't know. We're always looking toward the future, trying to figure out where things are going. And
so, the wages are going up. They're going to continue to go up. And what we're going to be talking about Wednesday, just so you know, picking up on the theme, is we're going to talk about the numbers side of this. You're going to have to pay more to attract talent. So what does that mean to your business, and how does this tie back into your loaded direct payroll to revenue, and what other decisions do you need to make, and what do those decisions need to look like in order to make all those numbers work? Because if you just raise wages, and if you don't do anything on what you're charging your client side, it's probably not going to end very well. So, but how do you know what to do on the client side? How do you need to, what do you do to get your rates up accordingly for both new clients as well as your incumbents? We're going to get into that on Wednesday.
It's going to be awesome. So what we're going to talk about today is going to help with some of the things that you need to do that are not directly related to the money, because exactly what Ian says right here, the money plays a big factor, but culture and environment are underrated factors affecting employee performance. Absolutely. And I don't even think that people are underrating them. They're just not paying attention to them. They're just like, nothing I can do. It's all about the money. And it's not all about the money. Yes, right now the money is a different situation, but we still have a lot of opportunities. There are still a lot of things that we can do.
Yeah. Our friend Mel Kleiman says that when somebody is looking for a job, like if they're in Indeed and they're trying to figure out who do I want to apply for, the money is a big part of it. It's like, okay, I got 3 jobs here. They all look the same. I think I'm going to apply to the one that's offering the most money. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But once you're there working, if you're going to stay there for, 3 months, a year, 5 years or longer, it's about all the other things. I'm not going to stay in a job for 5 years that I hate, regardless of what the money is.
Yep. And people nowadays, especially in our section of the industry, people aren't going to stay here. You guys know they're not even going to show up for the interview, right? If they're not loving the job, if they're not thinking, oh, it's going to be a great place to work. And they're sure as heck not going to be lasting 6 years. Come on, y'all. How about 6 days, right? You got to get these people to stay long enough to even find out if this job is something that they want to do. So there has to be more to it than just, it's not one or the other. So it's never been one or the other. It's either pay or it's culture. It's never been that. Both things always had to play together. There always needed to be a decent level of wage, needed to be, like Tom said, needed to be at least the basic that people needed to have, what they believed they needed to have, and what made sense for them in their lives to be able to move forward and even take the job. The problem is that nowadays, with all of the rhetoric, I'm going to call it rhetoric, around the $15 an hour minimum wage, I don't care where you live, what part of the country you live in. I don't care if you live in Seattle, where minimum wage is above $15 an hour, or if you live in Podunk, Missouri, where the minimum wage is $7.25 an hour.
Never heard of Podunk.
It's a really good place, Tom. You're going to like it.
Heard of Festus.
Oh, yeah, Festus. That's even better. I should use Festus. But it doesn't really matter where you live. Regardless of what the minimum wage is where you are, everybody's talking about $15 minimum wage. Everybody, even if the minimum wage where you are. Go ahead, Tom.
No, I think that people are starting to get programmed to that. Yeah. And it's just, you hear it enough and you just start thinking, it's like, well, gee, that job's not even paying minimum wage. It's like, wait a minute. Minimum wage is $7.25 in most parts of the country, but
everybody's sort of been brainwashed to believe that $15 an hour is the living wage. It's the minimum living wage, regardless of what the minimum wage is in your state. And I don't know about you guys, but in a lot of the states, and Tom, I think your state is one of these, where the minimum wage really never had that much to do with anything anyway, because nobody,
it's $7.25 and nobody pays $7.25.
That's not really a thing. So minimum wage was really not a concern, but this idea of a minimum livable wage. Now that's been an idea that's been around for a while, and people now have hung a number on it, y'all. This new minimum living wage. Yeah, absolutely, Leslie. And that's what I'm saying. It really doesn't matter. That's why I'm calling it rhetoric, right? Because it doesn't matter where you are, and it doesn't matter what the economics of your state or city are. Everybody has this idea that $15 is the minimum living wage. So we're all competing with that belief system, regardless of what anybody else is paying. And we're all going to see that money changing. But again, Tom's going to be talking more about that on Wednesday.
Robin wants to know about ZipRecruiter, and is that a good option for cleaning professionals?
Well, we're going to get into that on our presentation today.
Oh, good question, Robin. We're going to answer that here before we're done.
Yeah.
Denise says hello.
I need to stay 20 to 25% above minimum wage. Yeah, and your situation is a little bit different than even other people's situation, Leslie, because you have expenses are in such a different way. Your state is much more
the workers' comp part of it is just lumped on top of the inflated wages. I mean, it's we've seen how we kind of joke about Portland, and now it looks like Portland is coming to your town. So just whatever's happening in California, Leslie is kind of giving us a preview. We need to get ready.
Yeah, no kidding. It's the truth. So Tom, maybe we should go ahead and jump into this presentation because there's a lot to it. So this presentation, you guys, is creative. My electric bill is $375. Well, this is just
I got you beat there, Leslie.
Yeah, I got you beat there too, Leslie. I'm like, that sounds almost cheap. So a lot of places here have like a $200 power bill just for like a little tiny house or like an apartment. So that doesn't sound too bad.
Katrina, this is a good question, and join us Wednesday because we're going to do a deep dive on this. We're going to have some information. We're going to be all over questions like this in terms of wages and what you need to charge and how to manage that. So come back Wednesday. We'll give you a very full answer. All
right, and so we're spending 2 full days on this topic. We could probably talk about this for a month, but we're not going to. We're going to talk about it for today.
We did that with KPIs. No, we're not going to do that.
We're not doing that. But today we're going to be talking about everything that doesn't have to do with the money. Not to say that any of these things are not connected to the money, because they are, which we've said multiple times. But Tom is going to be talking more on Wednesday about the actual numbers and how the numbers are going to play together. So this presentation that we're doing today, it comes from a survey, actually it's a self-evaluation survey that I give out to people. What, Tom? KPIs was awesome. Weirdo. You're such a weirdo. He's so funny. Although, Tom, like I'm teasing, and you and I really got a little bit sick of KPIs, but I got to tell you, I get a lot of good feedback about that month. I've gotten so much good feedback about it.
Was it only a month? It was only a month?
I think also really liked a lot of the KPI stuff, and she really learned a lot too.
It was a lot longer than a month.
It seemed like about 6 months, I know, but it wasn't. All right, you guys, back here. So this is a self-evaluation. We're going to be going over 36 points. And actually, let me just go ahead and get it started here. But if you want the whole self-evaluation, feel free to reach out to me. All right, so for all of these answers, you guys, give yourself a 1 if your answer is rarely, 2 if it's somewhat, and 3 if it's usually. Now, these answers are not, they're not going to be exact. Sometimes rarely will mean something like not often or something, but just pick whichever one is closest to you. If numbers work better than just a 1, 2, or a 3. All right, so this first topic is about staying ahead of the pack. So something that Tom and I talk about fairly frequently. All right, Robin, I'm going to tell you how to go ahead and get that at the end here. But I'll most likely remember.
We're gonna make you watch the whole thing, Robin.
We are. You're gonna have to work for it. I guess I could. Should I throw up the slide? I don't want people to have to stay here.
It's your party, Liz. So
yeah, I'm actually gonna pull up the slide here. So if you want to get the complete self-evaluation, email me at liz@cleaningprofitbuilders.com, and I will send you the link to, it's just, like a Google form, a Jot form, whatever. You'll take it and it will give you the score right there. You don't have to send it back to me. But if you want to send it back to me and you want to get a 15-minute review of your assessment, then take down this link also. Tom's going to copy them over for you, a Calendly, and I will talk to you 15 minutes about what are some of the top things you can do, depending on how your assessment came in. What are the things that you can do that are going to make the biggest impact the fastest? All right, and then the lowest true score that I get that is turned into me by April 23rd is going to win a 12-month culture calendar. You're welcome, Denise. All right, so Tom's going to post these links. You guys can grab them off there, but I'm going to go back to the presentation. All right, so the first thing is staying ahead of the pack. Tom, I know you're busy here.
No, I can walk and chew gum. What do we need?
All right, well, let's talk about why it's important to stay ahead of the pack. Well, we've talked quite a bit about that. But why is it more important today than it was a year ago, say?
Things are happening faster. The pack is moving faster. There's change and change. The rate of change, acceleration of change is happening faster. It's a lot of things. Technology is part of it. It's a big part of it. But it's also all these unprecedented events that we've dealt with over the last year have gone on. Change the competitive forces within our industry and industry as a whole. And especially when we're really talking about, workforce development and building your team and how do you develop a culture and a compensation plan and everything to be competitive. you can be in two places. You can either be chasing it and wait for things to happen and see it's happening and try to adapt, but you're running really hard, but you're behind it. Or if you can figure out where it's going, Wayne Gretzky, the one of the probably the best hockey player there ever was, would one of his famous quotes was skate to where the puck is going. And if you can see where the puck is going, if you can see where things are heading, and rather than chasing it, kind of hop over all of that and kind of put yourself in a position where things are going to be, say, 6 months from now, you're going to have a lot more opportunities. It's like musical chairs. You don't want to be the last company to figure out that you need to be paying $15 an hour.
Right. Yeah, because now it's too late. By the time you figure it out and you implement, go to all the trouble and the time and energy to create your new pay system, now you're going to be behind again. Everybody else is going to be paying $15.50.
All the chairs are gone. All the chairs are taken.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So what we're talking about here are just 12 things that you can do to stay ahead of the pack. Things that you can do that will keep you in front of the wave and not chasing everybody else. Also, one more thing. If you are thinking, but everything I was doing was working so well that I don't really feel like I need to change anything. I just need for the government to fix their thing, to stop doing what they're doing. I'm going to say, stop that thinking. That thinking is not going to help you. You need to change what you were doing before, because you are no longer going to be dealing with the same people that you were dealing with before. Now you're probably thinking, but of course I am. I'm still in the lower section of the people that are the pay, and the same people are coming to me that were coming to me before. No, y'all. This unprecedented event changed the people that are now coming to your jobs. I think most of us know that, but if you haven't recognized that this is a permanent change, these people are now different, and you're going to have to do things differently. Get on board here with me. All right, so the first thing here is do a SWOT analysis annually. You probably do some type of a SWOT analysis on your business, but this SWOT analysis is on your people and your company culture, right? What are the strengths that you have going on within your people systems, your HR systems? What are your weaknesses? Where are your opportunities? Where are your threats? Within this one little section of your company, not your big company. How often are you doing this? Do you do it? So this is what I meant by the phrases aren't exactly right. Have you never done it? All right, that would be rarely. Oh, you have done it. Maybe you've done it even once or twice. Awesome, yay for you. Or is this something that you do every single year and you always have? Great, then give yourself that 3. All right, the next thing is create your employee avatar. So everybody talks about their client avatar. You probably know yours off the top of your head. I know mine. I've got Jill and Jack Johnson. They got 2 kids, John and Jerry, and they've got a little dog named, what is the dog's name? Jojo, I think. I know all about my client avatar. I know who they are. I know how much money they make. I know what size of house they live in. And we all do that. Everybody focuses on their client avatar. But how about your employee avatar? Have you done one? Have you thought about one? If you haven't done one before, that would be rarely. If you have done one, but maybe it's a recent thing, that'd be somewhat. And if you've done it multiple times, you're always updating your employee avatar based on who you have working for you now, getting rid of maybe that low 10% and refining your employee avatar. Yay for you. That would be usually. All right. But if you haven't done it, all of these things, if you got a rarely on here, you know that is going to be something that you want to be doing right off the bat. Any comments, Tom?
No, I love the idea of the avatar. We do so much just instinctively. The term customer service, think about that, and everything that we do under the guise of, the objective of finding out who your customers are at a individual level, and customize home specific scopes of work and preferences and so forth. do we do the same thing with our employees, with our team members, our cleaning professionals? Do we even think about that? You know, employee service. How come there's not a term called employee service?
Yeah.
Talk about employee engagement, but
different.
Yeah.
Again, that's not in service. That's us trying to get them to be better. That's not us trying to serve them. So I think your point is really, really good, Tom.
I was talking to somebody who, a very successful large cleaning business, and they were lamenting over their inability to basically build a workforce in today's world, and all the competitive forces that we've been talking about. And then the conversation kind of drifted off into all the things that company was doing from a customer service standpoint, the programs and recognition and thank yous. And it was really awesome. It's like, you know what? Everything that you just explained for the last 5 minutes, erase the word customer and write employee in there and do the exact same thing, and you might be getting better outcomes.
Yeah. Might? Oh man, I would argue that might. You will be getting better outcomes. You might not still be getting the outcomes that you want entirely, but I promise you'll be getting better outcomes. There's no way around that. All right. The next thing is pay enough and then focus on doing. So we talk a lot about the pay. Yes, you have to pay enough, y'all. If you don't want to pay more money, or if you're like, I don't know, come to the Wednesday course, but you have to pay enough. And what I mean by enough is enough for your market, where you are, your specific location. So what I have to pay in Olympia, Washington is not the same thing that Leslie has to pay down there in California. It's just not. But you need to pay enough for your area, your market, and the people that could potentially come work for you. And then after you do that, focus on doing. So get your pay plan set up, and then focus on doing. And then do more than your competition. Now, when I'm talking about competition, I'm not talking about just the other cleaning companies. What are some other places of competition, Tom? Or anybody else here? Who do you guys look at for your competition for employees?
Yeah, hit us up. Drop some ideas in chat.
Yeah, who do you guys compete with for employees? Or do you? And if you haven't been competing with anybody except for cleaning companies, jump on this bandwagon right here.
Time to start.
Say again, Tom?
It's time to start if you haven't been.
Yep, time to start. So who do you guys compete with for employees? So I can tell you some of the places around here. We don't really compete with fast food, but we could if we wanted to, because we have much better hours. You don't stink at the end of the day. Manufacturing and elder care. Elder care is a great one here too, Leslie. We compete with that all the time. A lot of our people hate the idea of seeing people die. And if you're in elder care, that happens. That is one of the big things that people will say to us is, I just couldn't handle people dying anymore. Not to say it won't happen in our job, but much less for sure. Manufacturing, that's interesting. I like hearing about manufacturing. I hadn't heard about that before, and how that plays in. We compete with Target. We compete with Walmart over here. We compete with along the elder care idea, the retirement homes. And
so retail, senior living,
retail, mm-hmm.
Hospitality, hotels, things like that.
Yep. Hospitality and hotels. That's a really good one for us too. This is just a quick tip from an MMA group that we got last week that is okay to share. So a lot of people have been having success in their ads by putting in, no, I forgot what it's called, AirBNB. Doesn't mean that you do Airbnb, but you put Airbnb into the ad. People that are interested in Airbnb cleaning, they're then applying. You have a chance to say, well, currently we don't have any Airbnb opportunities, but we do have this other opportunity. You have a chance to sell.
So is there a segment of job hunters, people looking for work, that they specifically want to clean Airbnbs?
Apparently, there's a lot more applicants that are coming through with the Airbnb title.
Any idea why?
None. We've only been seeing success with this for a couple of weeks, but that's been using it has been showing success in this area. So
Interesting.
Give it a shot and see. I don't know. I think it plays into the gig worker economy also. I think it's part of that. It's like, yeah, I want to clean, but I don't want to have to work 5 days a week and 40 hours, and that's too much. So Airbnbs, yeah, I can go and clean when they need someplace. Maybe. That's my best guess right
If
there.
I'm cleaning Airbnbs, it's not a 40-hour-a-week job, is it?
It's not. And that's something that you guys are probably recognizing, right? That people are not wanting to work 40 hours right now. Very, very few people that are coming through are just, yes, wanting 40 hours. What they want is 40 hours of pay, but they want to work 30 hours. So they need to make more money so that they can work fewer hours. All right, next thing is find out what matters to your, Find out what matters to your applicant. So we didn't really talk a lot about do more than your competition. Just find out who your competition is, find out what they're doing for their employees, and do more than that is what I meant by that. And then find out what matters to your applicants. So a lot of times what we do is we wait until we get somebody hired. They've worked for us for a few months, maybe 3, and then we give them their first survey. Survey first. Survey your applicants. When they apply for your job, why did they apply? What was appealing about the job? What made them want? Just survey them. Find out what they want. Find out what they care about. What other jobs did they apply for? And why did they apply for those jobs? What other jobs are they going to apply for after your job? And what's the next job that they're looking for? Those are all great questions that you can ask in a survey. Find out what matters to the applicant and figure out, can you offer some of that stuff? So surveying your applicants, y'all, it's a golden idea. You got to do it. All right, next thing, learn from your competitors. So this is hard for people. Now with this, I should have said direct competitors. So other cleaning businesses. If other cleaning businesses are keeping some of their people some of the time, what is it that they're doing? A lot of times what we do, especially as business owners, we want to be the best. We want to be different. We don't want to be like them. We actively are trying not to be like this other company. But in some ways, maybe you need to do some of the things that they are doing. Learn from them. Learn from your direct competitors. What is working, also learn what isn't working. When they come to you and they say, I used to work at blah, 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 don't feel embarrassed to ask them why they don't work at Joe Blow's Maids anymore. Although I guess that one's kind of obvious. It's a terrible name. How about Susie Q's? Susie Q's Maids.
Crappy cleaners.
Yeah. Don't be embarrassed to ask them why they don't work there. Don't be embarrassed to ask them what was wrong. Unprecedented times, y'all. Take unprecedented questions and activities.
And at the same time, ask them what they liked about it. There's a lot to be learned there.
And that's learn from your competitors, right? What did they do that worked? What did they do that didn't work? Learn from that. Okay, one more thing that I just want to add on here really, really quickly. If you hear something bad about a company, one company, any company, you hear this one thing, don't change everything about your company, y'all. Don't change it. Just because you hear it from one person doesn't mean you need to change that. Means you need to take it in as data and then begin to evaluate this thing. Test, check other people, find out. Sometimes I see people that make big changes based on one data point, and then they're in a worse place.
Different people have different motivators, different preferences. You could be asking every candidate what their favorite flavor ice cream is, and you're going to get different answers, right? It doesn't mean that one's better than the other. It's just, people are different.
Well, I don't know, Tom. There are some ice creams They're just better than others. I mean, just saying.
Well, okay, we can talk about cheese puffs and everything else, I guess, but
But Tom's right. Right. So don't make a change based on one data point in your own company too, regardless of anything to do with employees. Just a customer complains about one thing. Don't change that whole thing in your company. Make sure it's something that makes sense.
in kind of along the same lines of finding out what matters to your applicant, one of the good questions to ask is, what attracted you to our ad? Because we're always trying to figure out, if they say, well, it said Airbnb in it, it's like, okay, well, maybe that works, but make note, kind of keep a tally on that, because we're always trying to tweak our ads, and if people are responding to your ads, that's a great opportunity. It's kind of like when you get a new client, right, or a lead comes in, you want to find out how they heard about you.
Always, yeah. And what is it that they're looking for with your company? I mean, almost everybody asks some version of, what's the number one thing that you can't wait for us to do so that you don't have to do it anymore? Everybody asks some version of that, because we want to make sure that we're doing that thing that they hate doing, right? What do you hate doing?
In order for this to be an outstanding job, what do we need to do? What's
it going to take? What are you going to, what's going to make you love this job? So anything along those lines is great. All right. The next one is watch business trends, not just industry trends. Our industry is not great at watching bigger business trends. We tend to just focus in on what do other cleaning businesses do, and I'm just going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do what all the other cleaning businesses do. I'm not discounting that. I'm not saying don't do what other cleaning businesses do, because there are some things you have to do, and you must do them well. All airplanes must be safe, right? All of them. So there are some things that you have to do as a cleaning business. But what are the business trends? Because remember, we're trying to stay ahead of the pack. What you're going to see for our industry is whatever the other businesses are doing, that's an opportunity maybe for us to start to shift in that direction. Next one is watch technology trends. Tom, you talk a lot about this, and you always have.
Yeah, I mean, technology is driving change in the world that we live in and within our businesses, but within our life, right?
Yeah.
And there's this concept called Moore's Law, that about every 2 years, the power of technology doubles. So not only is it changing, but it's changing faster than it used to. And this is hard to get our minds around, because we think linearly, but it's really more exponential in terms of the growth. And the change that we're going to see over the next 5 years is a lot more than what we saw over the last 5.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to happen so much faster. So be watching. Along the same idea here with watching business trends, watch technology trends, find some place, some source, I have to cough. Hold on. Sorry about that.
Did you push the red button?
I hit the mute button. No, you smarty pants, Tom. Tom's giving me grief, y'all, about my technology issues. Okay, so find a source for this information that is simple enough or quick enough or has information that's valuable enough for you to be able to check it on a regular basis so that you don't fall behind. So you don't have to go to the biggest, best news source and watch for 4 hours a day. You can if you want, but you don't have to. Just find some places that can give you some of these trends on a regular basis so that you can stay with the flow. All right, the next one, read and learn continuously. So, I'm always harping on this, so I don't think I need to talk a lot more about it. Next one is do exit interviews. Okay, rate yourself. You're supposed to be rating yourself on all of these, but if you do them rarely, if you do them somewhat, sometimes, if you're not doing them usually or all the time, fix that. If you have a bunch of yeah buts going on in your head right now, like, Yeah, but they don't fill it out. Yeah, but I don't know how to give it to them. They just don't show up. Yeah, but whatever your yeah buts are, figure out the answer to that. Those exit interviews are so valuable. If your exit interviews are not valuable, change them. Put better information on them. They should be very, very valuable. They should tell you why people were attracted to your job, what they liked about your job, why they left your job, and what would maybe make them come back to your job in the future. All of those things need to be on there. All right, the next thing that you're evaluating is designing your culture for a people first culture. Have you rarely thought about doing it this way? Somewhat. You do this, or is this your first go-to thought? Yes, I need to design my culture around my people being first. All right.
When you say people, you're not talking about just the general population. You're talking about the people that are working for your company.
People in your company. I'm really trying hard, y'all, to stay away from the word employee, because that's a word that I think is going to be a dirty word before too long. I think that's going to be a bad word. I'm looking for new words. People's not it, but employee's not it either. So one way I'm looking to stay ahead of the pack is to not use that word. Go ahead, Tom.
It's interesting because that came up in a internal meeting with Castle Keepers last week, and Kyle raised the issue of, well, doesn't it have like a lot of legal meanings? And it's like, well, yeah, it does. So that's going to be a very difficult word to expunge from the working vocabulary, because there's a ton of rules and regulations and case law built around the term employee, which has a very technical meaning.
It's pretty easy to get around if you have to. What is an employee? It's this, right? And so then it's just tied. So
I'm just thinking there's always going to be, Department of Labor is going to have all these rules and regulations, and they're not going to, Congress has to change. I mean, the word's going to be there for a long time.
Word's going to be here. Word's going to be here for a long time. But things change, y'all. How many things have you guys seen canceled from our culture that were here for a very, very long time, and they're not here anymore, right? And there are big fights around it. So,
change is happening faster than what it ever has. So maybe not. Maybe not.
Maybe. But this isn't. You don't have to focus on just this one thing. No, there are 100 things on this list, y'all. Pick the things that you can do. Don't worry about the things that you can't do. Worry about the things that you can and do those. Do them quicker, do them faster, do them better than your competition. Right? The next thing is invest in education. Invest in your education so that you are in front of this. You're not behind it, following everybody. If you're asking the same questions that everybody else asked 3 months ago, 6 months ago, it's too late, y'all. You need to do better than that. All right, the next slide here is break the mold. So this is, yes, I want you to do things, stay ahead, be looking for new opportunities. And then once you get there, because we're not going to get through all 36 of these. I was hoping to get through 36, but if we get through 24, I'm going to be happy. And don't worry, remember, you can get the whole self-evaluation just by sending me an email. All right, so break the mold. These are unprecedented times, and they call for unprecedented actions from you. You have to do things differently than you've done them in the past. You need to be looking for how you can do things differently. And the reason why this is hard for a lot of us is, first, we don't like change. The second is, but it was working. Why do I have to change things that were working? And the third thing is, we have real belief systems around a lot of these things. We believe this. So do you have to do all of these? No. Some of these you are going to read and you're going to argue with me that they can't be done. There's no way, etc. Don't do those. Just pick the ones that you can do. All right. So the first one is break the mold, expect resistance, embrace it. Typically in our industry, people want little automatons that just come to work, go out, just do your job, don't say anything, don't argue, don't complain, don't anything. Why not? There are a lot of businesses, a lot of big companies, a lot of companies that do a lot more than we do, that not only expect resistance, they embrace it. They look for resistance, and that's how they make their big changes. So it's an opportunity to change what you're currently doing. Oh my goodness, it's hard for me to say. Expect resistance and embrace it as a good thing. The next thing is look for good people in unlikely places. And so remember, you guys are supposed to be evaluating yourself here. Are you looking for good people in unlikely places? And this is going to, I believe it was Robin's question about, where, do you remember where he asked about, Tom? Robin.
Yeah. Which one of those hiring platforms?
One of the ones that is not typically used.
I'll find it. ZipRecruiter.
Yeah, ZipRecruiter. Okay. So ZipRecruiter has not been one of the hiring platforms that people have gone to and said, wow, I've gotten amazing results. But try. How expensive is it? Can you afford to do it in this area? It might be a good place to try. It might be a new place to try. You might be able to find better people. Anything that you put on ZipRecruiter, you might have to modify it just a little bit because you aren't going to be seeing just house cleaner ads. How can you do that? How can you look for some good people in different places than you've looked before? Because we're all doing the same thing, y'all. We're all going to the same exact places. We're all having the same exact luck. Someone's going to have to do something different. That could be you. ZipRecruiter might be an option for you, Robin. Absolutely give it a shot. Check out the money, right? And see if you can make that work. If you get 3 quality applicants from ZipRecruiter versus 40 applicants from Facebook, and none of them show up, and 2 of your ZipRecruiter applicants show up, wow, that would be a huge win. Okay, the next one is involve the team in your hiring process. So typically in our industry, that's not something we do. There's one person that interviews and they decide whether or not this is a good person. How could you involve your team? Larger companies, very successful companies, involve the entire team in their hiring process, or they involve a portion of the team, or they have a hiring, what's it called? A hiring panel that helps them to hire people. What can you do? How can you involve the team in your hiring process? If you are scoring rarely or somewhat on that, maybe you're already involving your team. I think, Leslie, didn't you say that you have people that they go through, like 3 people or something? It might not be you. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. But how can you involve your team if you've got a rarely or a somewhat on there? The next one is select by talent, not resume. So a lot of these are hard. It's like, how? I don't know how. How do I select by talent, not resume? I just want them to give me their resume or give me their application, and I just want to hire them according to that. An idea that's different is to hire by talent. What you got, Tom?
No, I'm just thinking, if I'm hiring a trombone player, maybe that would be more easily done. But how do you, when you're looking for a cleaning professional, how do they audition? What's the best way to do this?
So some things around this might be, you've heard it before, how clean is their car? Have them take a picture of underneath their kitchen sink. How many cleaning supplies are under there? How are they already cleaning? I know. Is
that really a reflection of talent, though?
It could be, though, because if you're really good at something, you usually find the right tools to do it. Would you agree?
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. There's a lot of, the car is dirty. I don't know. Maybe they've got kids and pets and
Tom's car is really dirty, y'all.
it is. My car's,
But you're also not a good cleaner. I wouldn't hire you.
no, you probably,
Wouldn't hire you.
I'm not that talented. You're right.
Not in that field, right? I wouldn't hire you for that job. So, and I'm not saying that those are the ways. I'm not saying that's right. I'm saying look for different things that you can do. Things that we know we need in a talented housekeeper. We need somebody that has good customer service skills. So test for that, right? Check and see how their customer service skills are. Maybe they've never cleaned a thing. Maybe this is an 18-year-old that still lives with her mom, and her mom is an amazing cleaner and she's never cleaned anything. Oh, but she wowed you in that interview. She made you love her. Maybe. Be aware of not the sharpest tool in the shed. Yeah, interesting. That's interesting. I have to think on that there, Robin. Unless you want to talk a little bit more about that. Or maybe he's talking about the next one too. Hire people who are smarter and more talented than you are. So look for people. This is not something that we typically do. If we see somebody and it's a joke. Okay, that makes more sense. I'm like, I have to think how this is. We don't typically hire people that are smarter or more talented than we are. So look for those people. That's something that you could maybe do different. Look for that. The next thing is look for people to nurture and promote. This is not something that we do. What we usually do is we look for people that are already amazing. And now a lot of these things that you see on here seem to go against each other, right? They seem to be like, you're saying hire somebody that's already amazing. Then on the other hand, you're saying hire somebody that's not amazing that I can nurture and promote. Yes, I'm saying both, right? We need to be able to break the mold. Don't do the same old thing that you've been doing, whatever it is. Do more of whatever was working, and what else can you do? What other things can you do? And even the things that you were doing before that were working, break them, change them up, fix them. How can you make them better than they were? The old answers are not the right answers for 2021. Did you have something, Tom?
Just thinking about the nurturing and promoting and figuring out, some people are probably more nurturable than others, if that's a word.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Any tips on how to identify that?
So let's see. If I was looking for people to nurture, I would be looking for people that were talking about maybe going back to school. They wanted to learn new things. They liked the idea of learning and growing. That somebody that was talking about they want to have this great job, whatever it is. They're like, yeah, I would really love to be a vet tech someday. Okay, awesome. I wonder how we could help you get to the position of being a vet tech. But if they're like, no, I always just wanted to be a cleaner. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that again, you guys. I'm saying we're looking for new things that we can do. How can we take advantage of some of the other opportunities that are out there that other companies are already doing? Okay, and remember, this is self-evaluation. So if you're like, yeah, I usually do look for people to nurture and promote already, great. Don't focus in on this one. Look at some of your rarelies. The next one is make changes willingly. We fight change. We're like, we want to just keep doing what we've always done. But I'm saying you gotta make some changes. Unprecedented times. We have to make changes. Did you have something, Tom?
No, I was just muting my mic for a second.
Just grabbing. Okay. Oh, it's, yeah.
There's a red button on it, and when there's noise in the background, I press it, it blinks, and I'm muted, and then I press it again, and I'm not muted.
He's just giving me grief, y'all. He just likes to give me grief. right, the next one, study your core employees. Do you currently study your core employees? Your core employees, y'all, they're gold. That group of people, those people that don't want to leave you, they love you, they think your company is great. Those people are who I call your core. Study those people. What is it that they love about your company? What is it about them that makes them your core? Those people make your company solid. They help your company to grow. They help you to do all of the things that you want to do if you let them. So study them. If you're not,
you mentioned on the previous slide about your avatar for your model employees. Is that kind of where you start with that?
absolutely. I would take my core employees and I would create an avatar off of them. That's what I'm looking for. These people, right? The amalgam of these people. That would be amazing. That's going to be awesome. But you have to know about your core employees, which we'll talk more about, matter, meaning, measure, all that kind of stuff on future slides. But study your core employees if you don't already. And then position your company as a great company. So do you already do that, or do you sort of back off that a little bit? Oh, and we're kind of short on time. So I'm just going to talk about this last one. Tom mentioned it earlier. We're all going to have to be doing this in the future. In 2021, we're all going to have to be great companies. And Tom talks about it in terms of being a great employer. And I'm going to talk about it in terms of just being a great company. That I just love this company. I want to work at this company. It's an amazing company. Yes, because of what they do for me, but also because of what they do for everybody else. And, it's just a great place to work. So position your company as a great company. And how do you do that? How do you position yourself as a great company? Put time, energy, and focus in. I'll tell you, one of the ways that you do that is do that SWOT analysis that we talked about earlier. Also, that'll help you become a great company. All right, I'm going to just real quickly go to that last slide again. If you want to get the complete self-evaluation, plus ideas on things to do, obviously, Liz@cleaningprofitbuilders.com. And if you'd like to arrange for a 50-minute review of your assessment, go to my Calendly link. And, if you do your self-evaluation, when it comes back to you, it's going to come with this link also, if you send it to me. So if you send it to me, I'll send you this link. And then the lowest true score is going to win a 12-month culture calendar. Go ahead, Tom.
I'm going to go ahead and drop the link to your Calendly.
Okay.
Your calendar. And I'm also going to just share real quick before we go that RXC is still doing their $500 all-you-can-eat promotion program through all-you-can-train through the month of April, and it'll be good for like 4 months to train all your employees, and it is a heck of a deal. And I didn't copy the right link. What did I just do?
You did 15 minutes again.
Oh, well, it's okay.
All right. Yeah, you're not going to get a better deal than this, y'all. One of the slides, or actually more than a few of the points that we talk about in the self-evaluation are around training and your training program, because it is so critical nowadays for the people to really feel like this is an excellent job, that this is a great company, a great place to work. Have to have great training.
You're not going to be able to establish yourself as a great company. It doesn't mean that you have to do this program, but you're going to have to do a lot in the area of training to reach that bar. And as we get into this cycle where wages are going up, if you're going to pay people more, you have to make them be worth more valuable, and it's through training that you're able to do that. Are we done, Liz?
That's it, Tom. We're a minute late, but I think we're good.
Look it up. Well, Wednesday we're going to be picking up on this theme. We're going to be talking, more about, how to make the numbers work during these unprecedented times where you're having to make changes to your compensation and your wages. And also going to be talking a little bit about some techniques to maximize the value out of what you're doing there from an engagement standpoint. You don't want to just throw money out there. You want to make sure you're getting as much value as you can. So we're gonna pick up on that. We'll see you Wednesday at 5 o'clock Eastern. Bye bye, folks.